11 o'clock this Friday morning. Hello and welcome to all the viewers of India Today. I'm Smita Sharma and let's begin with the breaking news that's coming in. In an open defiance to the Supreme Court ban, local residents of Karsisalkulam, Madurai conducted Jallikattu with 22 bulls today. That's what we are learning, and public, in fact, they have questioned authorities as why they should follow the Supreme Court order when Karnataka does not. Now, due to lack of men, police have not arrested any persons yet. But this is what, and in fact, the Supreme Court has now termed the petitioners as publicity seekers. Akshay Soni is joining us from outside the Supreme Court. Akshay Nath from Chennai. We'll also have other special panelists on the broadcast. Coming to you first, Anusha, take us through what's happened in the Apex Court.
Well, Smita, the Supreme Court was clearly irked by a lot of reports which had come out yesterday, wrongly quoting the bench, saying that they have rejected some kind of petition. The court also, came down heavily on the lawyers who came forward yesterday and questioned that when the Supreme Court is going to ask, for its orders, when is it going to pronounce its order. The bench led by Justice Deepak Mishra clearly said that the Supreme Court does not owe an explanation to anyone as to when the order will come out. It is not duty-bound to explain it to anyone. And the court also slammed the lawyers and said that there was a design to get media attention and create a hype, and hence this matter was mentioned yesterday. And clearly the Supreme Court is in no mood to give any relief or hint at when it is going to pass the orders. But clearly it's very irked by the fact that yesterday some lawyers came forward and mentioned the matter and came out and gave some statements in the press that created a ruckus.
Okay, Akshay, clearly the Supreme Court upset, as Anusha Soni pointing out there. The matter is sub judice, but not just protests happening in Tamil Nadu. Now cases being reported of open defiance.
Yes, but people in Tamil Nadu are step where they say that we have been law-abiding citizens. We have been listening to the Supreme Court and its verdicts all along. But we have seen that many other instances where the Supreme Court's orders were surpassed and were not done properly. For instance, during the Khabare water crisis, it was seen that Karnataka government had openly defied the Supreme Court's orders, and there was no action taken against the Supreme Court. And right now, only Tamil Nadu has been where they've been continuously victimized, is what these people are saying here. And they're saying that they will go on with Jallikattu, irrespective of whether the Supreme Court agrees or not.
Akshay, I request you to be with us. We can see, in fact, images coming in of the DMK's MK Stalin addressing crowds there. Let's try and dip in a little and you can explain to us what he's saying.
ஆட்சிக்கு வந்த அதிமுக அந்த முயற்சிகளை ஈடுபட்டு ஜல்லிக்கட்டை நடத்துகிற முயற்சிகளை ஈடுபட்டார்களா? அதற்கு பிறகு மத்தியில் ஆட்சி மாற்றம் ஏற்பட்டு மோடி அவர்கள் தலைமையிலே பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சியுடைய ஆட்சி வந்ததற்கு பிறகு உடனடியாக அதிலே தலையிட்டு அந்த தடையை நீக்குவதற்கான முயற்சிகளை ஈடுபட்டார்களா? இல்லை. நான் இன்னும் சொல்லுகிறேன், ஏற்கனவே ஆட்சியில் இருந்த அதிமுக, கடந்த முறை 5 வருஷம் ஆட்சியில் இருந்த அதிமுக அப்பொழுது சட்டமன்றத்தில் அண்ணன் துரைமுருகன் போன்றவர்கள், என்னை போன்றவர்கள், திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தை சார்ந்திருக்கக்கூடிய சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள் எல்லாம் எழுந்து இந்த ஜல்லிக்கட்டு பிரச்சனை பற்றி பேசுகிற போது அப்பொழுது எதிர்வரிசையில் ஆளுங்கட்சி வரிசையில் அமர்ந்திருக்கக்கூடிய மாண்புமிகு ஓ பன்னீர்செல்வம் அவர்கள் எழுந்து என்ன சொன்னார்? நிச்சயமாக உடைய ஆட்சிகளை இந்த ஆண்டு, நான் சொல்வது சென்ற ஆண்டு, அப்பொழுது சொல்லுகிறார், இந்த ஆண்டு நிச்சயம் நடக்கும், அதை நடத்தியே தீருவோம், எங்கள் அம்மா ஆணையிட்டு விட்டார், அதற்கான முயற்சியில் நாங்கள் ஈடுபட்டு இருக்கிறோம், உறுதியாக நடைபெறும் என்று அறிவித்தார். நடந்ததா? இல்லை. நான் இன்னும் சொல்லுகிறேன், கடந்த சட்டமன்ற தேர்தலுக்கு முன்பு தமிழகம் முழுவதும் இருக்கக்கூடிய 234 சட்டமன்ற தொகுதிகளில் நமக்கு நாமே என்ற பெயரில் ஒரு சுற்றுப்பயணத்தை நடத்தினேன். அப்படி நடத்திய போது தமிழகத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய எல்லா தரப்பு மக்களையும் போய் சந்தித்தேன். அதிலே குறிப்பாக மதுரைக்கு அருகில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அலங்காநல்லூர் பகுதியில் நான் சென்ற போது அந்த ஜல்லிக்கட்டு விளையாட்டை நடத்தக்கூடிய வீரர்களோடு, அந்த இளைஞர்களோடு, அந்த காளையர்களோடு கலந்து பேசக்கூடிய வாய்ப்பு எனக்கு கிடைத்தது. அந்த வாய்ப்பை பெற்ற போது நான் அப்பொழுது சொன்னேன், ஜல்லிக்கட்டை இந்த அரசு நடத்துவதற்கு முன்வராவிட்டால் மத்திய அரசை கண்டித்து மாநில அரசை சுட்டிக்காட்டி வலியுறுத்தி வற்புறுத்தி திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் சார்பில் ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய போராட்டம் நடைபெறும். அதற்கு நானே தலைமை தாங்குவேன். கலைஞர் அவருடைய ஆணையை ஏற்று அறிவுரையை பெற்று அனுமதியை பெற்று அந்த போராட்டத்தை நடத்துவோம் என்று நான் அறிவித்தேன். அதற்கு பிறகு தலைவர் கலைஞர் அவர்களை சந்தித்து இந்த பிரச்சனையை சொன்னேன். உடனடியாக உண்ணாவிரத போராட்டத்தை நடத்துங்கள் என்று ஆணையிட்டார்கள். அந்த உண்ணாவிரத போராட்டம் தேதி அறிவிக்கப்பட்டது. அறிவிக்கப்பட்ட நேரத்திலே தான் இன்றைக்கு தமிழகத்தை சார்ந்த மத்தியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அமைச்சர் மாண்புமிகு பொன் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் அவர்கள் அப்பொழுது அவர் தலைவர் கலைஞர் அவர்களுக்கு ஒரு செய்தி அனுப்புகிறார். என்ன செய்தி என்று கேட்டால், நிச்சயமாக இந்த ஆண்டு ஜல்லிக்கட்டு நடக்கும், நீங்கள் போராட வேண்டிய அவசியம் இல்லை, போராட்டத்தை நீங்கள் நிறுத்திவிடுங்கள் என்று நான் பணிவோடு கேட்கிறேன், தலைவர் கலைஞரிடத்திலே கேட்கிறேன் என்று ஒரு அறிக்கையை, கடிதத்தை தலைவர் கலைஞருக்கு அனுப்பி வைக்கிறார். அதை படித்து பார்த்த நம்முடைய தலைவர் கலைஞர் அவர்கள் அவருடைய உறுதிமொழியை நம்பி அதை ஏற்றுக்கொண்டு அதற்கு பிறகு எங்களை போன்றவர்கள் அழைத்து இந்த உறுதிமொழி வந்திருக்கிறது, எனவே பொறுத்திருப்போம். பொன் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் சொல்லுகிறார், மத்தியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அமைச்சர் சொல்லுகிறார், எனவே உண்ணாவிரதத்தை ஒத்தி வையுங்கள் என்று எங்களுக்கு ஆணையிட்டார்கள். உண்ணாவிரதம் ஒத்தி வைக்கப்படுகிறது. ஆனால் ஜல்லிக்கட்டு நடைபெற்றதா என்று கேட்டால் இல்லை. அதற்கு பிறகு தொடர்ந்து நாம் இந்த ஆண்டாவது நடைபெறுமா என்கிற அந்த ஏக்க பெருமூச்சோடு தொடர்ந்து திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகம் மட்டுமல்ல, தமிழகத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய எல்லா கட்சிகளும் குரல் கொடுக்கிறது, போராடுகிறது, வாதாடுகிறது. தமிழ் அமைப்புகளை சார்ந்திருக்கக்கூடியவர்கள் போராடுகிறார்கள். அந்த விளையாட்டை நடத்தக்கூடிய வீரர்கள், காளையர்கள், இளைஞர்கள் அத்தனை பேர் ஒன்று சேர்ந்து இன்றைக்கு குரல் கொடுத்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள், போராடி கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். ஆனால் என்ன நிலை? அதிலும் குறிப்பாக ஒரு 5-6 நாட்களாக தமிழகத்தில் இளைஞர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்திருக்கிறார்கள், மாணவர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்திருக்கிறார்கள். நான் இல்லத்திலிருந்து இந்த போராட்டத்திற்கு வருகிற போது, நானும் அண்ணன் துரைமுருகன் அவர்கள் காரிலே வருகிற போது கடற்கரை சாலையில் லட்சக்கணக்கான இளைஞர்கள் அங்கே மனித சங்கிலை கைகோர்த்துக் கொண்டு நின்று கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய காட்சியை பார்த்துவிட்டு தான் இங்கே வந்திருக்கிறோம். காரணம், அந்த அளவிற்கு இன்றைக்கு இளைஞர்களிடத்தில் கட்சிக்கு அப்பாற்பட்டு ஒரு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னால், நான் நேற்றைக்கு கூட அதை குறிப்பிட்டு சொன்னேன். எப்படி 1965ஆம் ஆண்டு தமிழகத்தில் ஒரு ஆட்சி மாற்றத்திற்கு மொழி போராட்டம் காரணமாக இருந்திருக்கிறதோ, இளைஞர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்த காரணத்தால் அந்த போராட்டத்தை வெற்றி போராட்டமாக அன்றைக்கு நாம் நடத்தி காட்டினோமே, அதுபோல இன்றைக்கு இளைஞர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்திருக்கிறார்கள். இந்த ஆண்டும் மத்தியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அமைச்சர் பொன் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் என்ன சொல்லுகிறார்? அதேபோல பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சியுடைய தலைவராக இருக்கக்கூடிய மரியாதைக்குரிய தமிழிசை சவுந்தரராஜன் அவர்கள் என்ன சொல்லுகிறார்கள்? தொடர்ந்து அவர்கள் சொல்லுவது, நாங்கள் நடத்துவோம், கவலைப்பட வேண்டாம் என்று நேற்று முன்தின வரையில தொடர்ந்து சொல்லிக் கொண்டிருந்தார்கள். இதில் இன்னொரு வேடிக்கை என்னன்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, நேற்று முன்தினம் திடீரென்று நம்முடைய பொன் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் அவர்கள் ஒரு கருத்தை சொல்லி இருக்கிறார். என்ன கருத்து என்று கேட்டால், போகி என்று ஜல்லிக்கட்டு நடத்துவதற்கு நமக்கு அனுமதி கிடைக்க போகிறது. ஆக அப்படி அனுமதி கிடைக்கிற போது திராவிட இயக்கங்கள் எல்லாம் அழிந்து போயிடும் என்று அவர் ஒரு வாழ்த்து செய்தியை சொல்லி இருக்கிறார். இதை பத்திரிகை நிருபர்கள் என்னிடத்தில் கேட்டார்கள். திராவிட இயக்கமே அழிந்து போய்விடும் என்று சொல்லுகிறார் என்று சொன்னப்போ நான் அதற்கு பதில் சொன்னேன், திராவிட இயக்கத்தை அழிப்பதல்ல, எந்த கொம்பனாலும் தொட்டு கூட பார்க்க முடியாது என்று நான் அழுத்தம் திருத்தமாக எடுத்து சொன்னேன். ஆக நேற்றுக்கு உச்ச நீதிமன்றத்தில் இருந்து ஒரு உத்தரவு வந்திருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னால், தீர்ப்பு வழங்க முடியாது என்ற உத்தரவு வந்திருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னால், அந்த உத்தரவு வந்தவுடன் தமிழகத்தினுடைய முதலமைச்சராக இருக்கக்கூடிய மாண்புமிகு ஓபிஎஸ் அவர்கள் என்ன செய்திருக்கணும்? ஹைதராபாத்துக்கு சென்றாரு, அங்கிருந்து நேராக டெல்லிக்கு போயிருக்கணுமா வேண்டாமா? டெல்லியில போய் மோடியை சந்தித்திருக்க வேண்டுமா வேண்டாமா? ஏன் அந்த பணியை செய்யல? சரி, 50 எம்பிக்கள் இருக்கிறார்கள் அதிமுகவிற்கு. ஆளுங்கட்சியாக இருக்கக்கூடிய தமிழகத்தை சார்ந்த மாநிலங்களவையும் சேர்த்து சொல்லுகிறேன், 50 எம்பிக்கள் இருக்கிறாங்களே. அந்த 50 எம்பிக்கள் என்ன செய்கிறாங்க? ஆனால் சொல்வார்கள், நேற்று முன்தினம் போனார்கள். போனது உண்மைதான், மறுக்கல. காவேரி பிரச்சனை வந்த நேரத்திலும் போனார்கள். ஆனால் போனவர்கள் மோடியை சந்திக்க முடிஞ்சதா? பிரதமரை போய் சந்தித்தார்களா? இப்பொழுதல்ல, காவேரி பிரச்சனை நேரத்திலாவது அப்பொழுது மோடியை சந்தித்தார்களா? இல்லையா? ஆனால் மோடி அவர்கள் யாரை சந்திக்கிறார் என்று கேட்டால், அவருக்கு வேண்டியவர்கள், அதுவும் சினிமா உலகத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடியவர்கள் வந்தால் உடனடியாக அப்பாயின்மெண்ட் கொடுத்து, நான் காலையில் ஒரு பட்டியல் எடுத்தேன், சொல்வதற்கு வெட்கப்படுறேன். யார் யாரெல்லாம் தனித்தனியாக அழைச்சு பேசி இருக்கிறார் தெரியுமா? நடிகை கௌதமி, நடிகர் பிரபாஸ், நடிகர் சோனாகி, நடிகர் நாகார்ஜுனா, நடிகர் சல்மான் கான், நடிகர் அமீர் கான், நம்முடைய சூப்பர் ஸ்டார் ரஜினிகாந்த், நடிகர் விஜய், கஜோல், சைப் அலிகான், கரீனா கபூர். நான் இவர்கள் எல்லாம் விமர்சித்து பேசுகிறேன் நினைச்சிடக்கூடாது. இவங்களுக்கு என்று ஒரு தனி பெருமை இருக்கு, புகழ் இருக்கு, நான் மறுக்கல. நான் கேட்கிற ஒரே கேள்வி, சினிமா நட்சத்திரங்களுக்கு நேரம் கொடுத்து அவர்களை பார்ப்பதற்கு நேரத்தை ஒதுக்கி தரக்கூடிய மோடி அவர்கள் நம்முடைய பண்பாட்டினுடைய சின்னமாக இருக்கக்கூடிய தமிழர்களுடைய கலாச்சாரத்தை காப்பாற்றுவதற்கு 50 எம்பிக்கள் வருகிற போது நேரம் கொடுத்திருக்க வேண்டாமா? சரி, உங்களால் நேரம் சொல்லாமல் அப்பாயின்மெண்ட் கேட்காம வந்துட்டாங்க அப்படின்னு ஒண்ணு சொல்றாங்க, நான் ஏற்றுக்கொள்ளுகிறேன். சரி, நேற்று வந்தார்களே, சரி நாளைக்கு வர சொல்லுங்கள், அல்லது நாளை மறுநாள் வர சொல்லுங்கள், அல்லது இந்த தேதியை ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட தேதியை வர சொல்லுங்கள் என்று சொல்லி இருக்க வேண்டாமா? இதே திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் சார்பில் காவேரி பிரச்சனை சம்பந்தமாக நம்முடைய நாடாளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள் எல்லாம் பிரதமரை சந்திக்க கடிதம் மூலமாக, தொலைபேசியின் மூலமாக.
Okay, so the working president of the DMK, MK Stalin there. Remember, the DMK has called for a statewide protest today. Agitations are on to ask the centre to demand an ordinance to be promulgated to allow the bull taming sport of Jallikattu back in the state, something that has been stayed by the Supreme Court, and the matter is still sub judice. Akshay Nath continues to cover these protests that are happening outside, in fact, the collector's office where MK Stalin was speaking, and he also blamed the AIADMK for not pressurizing the centre enough. Anusha Soni is outside the Supreme Court. Akshay, to you first. You know, what about all the figures? It's not just about animal rights that comes up when you talk about Jallikattu. There have also been instances of deaths. There have been hundreds of injuries over the last many years. Do people not worry about that at all?
It is seen that in every other sport as well, there are cases of injuries and death. In fact, even in the sport of cricket, which is one of the most loved out sport, we have seen that people have died while playing the sport. Is what most of the people who are in support of Jallikattu have been telling here. They're saying that every sport has its own negatives, but you cannot stop the traditional value, the cultural value that it is associated with for the people of Tamil, and you cannot stop a sport like this. The petitions that have been continuously kept with the central government, with the Supreme Court, are something that are well known. Here, while talking to the people who have gathered for the DMK protest, working president of the party, MK Stalin, has also made accusations against the AIADMK government as well as the central government, which is led by Modi, saying that Modi only meets actors, and while politicians from the state had gone to meet him for the Kaveri water issue as well as for the Jallikattu issue, They were not allowed to meet him. They're saying that while time and again Modi government has been saying that they are supporting Jallikattu and will help in making the sport legal in the state, it is seen that nothing much has been done. This is what MK Stalin has been telling here, and it is also said that while the DMK was about to make a protest, a fasting protest, Pon Radhakrishnan, the union minister, had called up Karna Nadi as well as MK Stalin and had told them that this year Jallikattu will go on. And now the Supreme Court's verdict or Supreme Court's decision that came out yesterday is a shocker for most of the people, and that is exactly why hundreds and thousands of people have gathered here outside the collectorate where there is a statewide protest being held by MK Stalin and the others, Smita.
Okay, Akshay, I'll come back to you. Let me also get in a word, in fact, from Anusha Soni. Anusha, clearly what we are perhaps getting the indications is that the centre is not really willing to take in the ordinance route on this issue. So what next really, keeping in mind the fact that reports are coming in of open defiance and Jallikattu events being held in parts of Tamil Nadu?
Well, Smita, let me point out that the ordinance route is not open to the government for the simple reason that about a 5-judge bench has given a clear order, a judgment from the Supreme Court that the ordinance route is not permitted in ordinary situations, and it's deplorable constitutionally. It is constitutionally bad. Just about a week ago, this judgment has come. The centre is very well aware of this judgment, and keeping that in mind, neither the Tamil Nadu government nor the centre will try to take an ordinance route and try to subvert the order of the Supreme Court. Now, the second, option before was that the Supreme Court passes any order before Saturday. Well, that's clearly out of the question. The court has today clarified that it does not owe any explanation to anyone. What we are seeing right now is an open defiance, like Akshaya was mentioning, that happened during the Kaveri, river water dispute between Tamil Nadu and Kerala, between Tamil Nadu and the state of Karnataka. Now, in this case, what will be really important is the fact is how strongly do the authorities in the state of Tamil Nadu try and make sure that the orders are complied with. If the state government will have an implicit support to the entire, ruckus going on in the court, they will be answerable in the Supreme Court. And clearly the bench was very angry today. Justice Deepak Mishra clearly said that there is a design here and people must obey the Supreme Court orders. So if there is political support, if there is a tacit implicit support to the entire defiance going on in the state of Tamil Nadu, the Supreme Court orders, there will be a backlash as far as the top court of the country is concerned.
Okay, also joining us now is Apurva Joshi Pura, who is a PETA, in fact, animals rights activist, joining us via Skype. Apurva, welcome to the broadcast. How are you looking at this entire show of sentiment and solidarity on the issue, where everybody seems to be arguing that it's a matter of culture and tradition, it's got nothing to do with political brownies?
Okay, first of all, it is cruelty. It is not culture. When somebody else is being hurt, you can't throw around words like culture and tradition and justify it. When something is illegal and has been deemed illegal by the highest court of our country, who have confirmed that this cruelty is illegal under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, you can't just justify it by using those kinds of words. Our organization actually has many Tamil supporters who are against this cruelty to bulls, because what happens during Jallikattu is that grown men deliberately terrify a bull to the point that he runs, he slips, he falls, he often breaks his bones, he often loses his life. And they actually deliberately weaken the animal. It has been documented that they force feed them alcohol sometimes, they stab and jab them with sickle spears and knives, they twist their bones, they twist their tails. This is no way of treating the real-life Nandis of Lord Shiva, especially on an auspicious occasion like Pongal, which is supposed to be about a giving back to nature and a celebration of life. So, and it's also the duty of officials to support the Supreme Court.
Apurva, I request you to stay with us. I am also joined by Balakumar Somu, who is a Jallikattu organizer himself, and I'll come back to Mr. Somu to get in reactions to what Apurva just mentioned. Okay, on the broadcast, we have, in fact, Purva Joshi, Kumar Somu. Mr. Somu, as Purva here was alleging that there have been documented instances of specific animal, in fact, cruelty. The bulls, a lot of cases where she said that they're force-fed alcohol, they are stabbed. How do you react to all of this?
Okay, the first thing I would like to say is rules are flouted in every game, okay, every sport. Rules are flouted in cricket. Do we ban the whole of cricket? And it was nice to see Purva Joshipura with her American accent and all, because she is an American. What would a foreign citizen understand about our culture?
Personal attack is allowed on the show.
Culture.
No, you cannot comment about somebody's accent on our show. Please take back that comment and you may make your point.
Wonderful. Okay. So if that is the case, let us come to our own this thing. So you were talking to me about cruelty on the sport. Show me any instance after 2009 if there was cruelty. Because after 2009, everything was monitored by AWBI and the district collector. I am telling you, if there was foul play in the game, then what should have been done? Because every animal post 2011 has been registered with Animal Welfare Board of India. And the number of the animal registration number should be written on the horn of the bull in highway yellow. This is a law, and this has been implemented in Tamil Nadu. Show me the photographs.
The Supreme Court ruling then, Mr. Somu. Mr. Somu, then on what basis is the Supreme Court not listening to the people who are pleading that Jallikattu should be allowed?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
On what basis are you saying, if you say that there is no evidence of animal cruelty, why do you then think that the apex court is ruling against it?
Okay, the apex court ruled against Jallikattu based on first the petitions, the case filed by AWBI and PETA and these organizations. And then who did the investigations? The same organizations of AWBI and PETA, which filed the case in the first place against Jallikattu, produced reports against the same Jallikattu. So a petitioner filing a case against the defender, and then the same petitioner producing reports of irregularities against the same thing. So is this a neutral committee? Give us an investigation by a neutral committee, and the Supreme Court, in all its wisdom, decided to go with the report produced by the petitioner, the PETA and AWBI.
Right.
At the same time, the Supreme Court decided to ignore the reports produced by district collectors.
Okay, you've made some points. Pura, please react to that. And also the question which is being put forward by the supporters of Jallikattu, that over the years the sports has been modified. A lot of, in fact, there are a lot of laws and new guidelines that have now been brought into the game to talk about animal safety as well.
A simple question to Madam Purva Joshipura. Has she even seen a Jallikattu after 2009 for real?
Yes, we have. In fact,
okay, so let her answer, sir. Let her answer. You've made your question.
I would like to. Yes. All of the information that was submitted to the Supreme Court was taken after 2009. It was gathered during the time that Jallikattu was conducted under these rules and regulations, and it was found that not only were the rules and regulations violated, but Jallikattu is inherently cruel. This is what the Supreme Court verdict decided, because the very object of the game is to deliberately terrify an animal, and that is considered unnecessary cruelty. The Supreme Court has also considered the fact that these bulls are not anatomically designed to be made to run this way. Using them in this way is particularly hard on this species. And it's not only animals who get hurt during Jallikattu. There was an illegal Jallikattu recently conducted where 2 people died. During the time period when Jallikattu was allowed between 2010 and 2014, media reports showed that over 1,000 people got injured, 17 people died. I mean, this is cruelty, this is dangerous, this is illegal, and it's about time that we recognize that we shouldn't be putting humans in danger. We shouldn't be putting animals in situations they don't want to be in. Animals, like humans, have feelings,
the supporters of Jallikattu also claim that this is actually a special variety of bull that is raised in a way to be fit for this sport. So how do you react to that?
Those bulls are made of flesh, bone, and blood, like anybody else. They have feelings, and the whole reason why they run is because they're terrified. They're so terrified that they run, they slip, they fall, they break their bones. It is documented. Anybody can see this video footage on PETAindia.com, that these animals not only end up bloodied and bruised with broken bones, some of them even lose their lives. This is outright cruelty. And our true culture is one of kindness. It's in fact our duty under Article 51AG of the Indian Constitution to be kind to animals.
Yes.
It's our duty.
Let me reply to
So
the
not
allegation.
Yes, Purva, let's listen into Mr. Somu.
These animals are terrified. In fact, this clearly shows these animal rights, so-called animal rights activists have never seen a Jallikattu bull in their life at all. I raise a bull. I own bulls. So I know how these bulls behave. They are alpha males. They are the best of the breed. They love to play. It is just like your dog. When you take the leash in your hand early in the morning, they love to play. They know it's time to play. Similarly, the Jallikattu bulls also love to play. They are the alpha males. So they are not running around scared. You see the videos properly. They love to play. They stand, defy. They love to play.
Mr. Somu, I wish the bulls could speak out themselves, perhaps to give us more clarity. But what about the number of injuries, the number of dead people over the years?
Okay, let me come to that. Yes. From 2009, we of the Jallikattu Peravai, the organizing committee, have taken group insurance for over 1,200 of our sportsmen. From 2009, show me anywhere where a person claimed this insurance because they were either injured or killed. There has been absolutely no fatality in the venue after 2009. That is our record. Whether it is a bull or a sportsman or a spectator, there has been absolutely no fatalities in the venue. That is what I'm saying. Okay, they show one instance of a bull running, meeting with an accident. Come on. Will you claim that a person coming to a cricket field meets with an accident on the road while coming there or going back from the show, and because of that would you ban
cricket? You are talking about 2008. If you Google up, I'm giving you a lot of the media cases that have been reported. 17th of Jan 2009, 5 Jallikattu deaths in Tamil Nadu. 2012, 2 people dead because of Jallikat. 2013, 15th of Jan, bull dies from head-on collision. Are all of these reports incorrect, sir?
No. Yes, after 2009. 2009 is when the Tamil Nadu government passed a...
Sir, I have just cited you instances after 2009. I'm citing you instances of 2009 onwards. 2009, 2012, 2013.
At the venue. Please tell me where it happened in the venue. No. Nothing happened. While a bull is being taken back home, right on the national highway, when it meets with an accident, you can't say that Jallikattu should be banned because this bull, met with an accident on the road. That is the only instance these animal rights activists show.
So 16th January 2013, one person was killed during a bull taming event, while 67 others, including spectators, were injured in Jallikattu events in Madurai. There are many such reports, sir. Definitely not all of these reports can be incorrect.
Smita, Jallikattu is so indefensible that this Jallikattu supporter has to come on television and lie about it. If you're going to defend Jallikattu, at least tell the truth. The truth has been documented. It's been submitted to the Supreme Court. There is actually no debate over the fact that human beings die and that they get injured and they lose their lives. There's no debate over the fact that there's cruelty to animals because that has been deemed to be the case by the highest court of our country.
Okay, Purva, so you are saying that the case against Jallikattu is indefensible. Do stay with us. We have lost that line to Mr. Balakumar. We'll reconnect. But meanwhile, let's try and listen in to what MK Stalin had to say while he was making that speech outside the collectorate, and also some of the political reactions that have flowed in.
அந்த விளையாட்டை நடத்தக்கூடிய வீரர்கள், காளையர்கள், இளைஞர்கள் அத்தனை பேர் ஒன்று சேர்ந்து இன்றைக்கு குரல் கொடுத்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள், போராடி கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். ஆனால் என்ன நிலை? அதிலும் குறிப்பாக ஒரு 5-6 நாட்களாக தமிழகத்தில் இளைஞர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்திருக்கிறார்கள், மாணவர்கள் கிளர்ந்து எழுந்திருக்கிறார்கள்.
Meanwhile, remember, in fact, the defiance continues, protests continue across the state. DMK has called for protests. AIADMK too has been agitating. Anusha Soni continues to keep track of how it is playing out in the Supreme Court. Anusha, you know, with the Supreme Court, of course, not wanting to kind of bring forward the date of trying to listen into the case. But still, if we have heard of 22 bulls at least being raised today somewhere in Madurai, what are you listening? Is it possible that the court might actually pull up the state authorities?
Well, Smita, currently there is no petition or plea which is pending before the Supreme Court. Because this matter is a matter which has raised a lot of sentiments, a lot of lawyers from the state of Tamil Nadu have repeatedly come before the Apex Court bench and mentioned this case. The only ray of hope which is pending in the Jallikattu case is the review petition which was filed by the centre. That the Supreme Court should revoke the ban on the Jallikat. The similar plea of the state of Tamil Nadu was dismissed by the Supreme Court, but the centre's plea is still pending. As you pointed out, and we've been speaking, that the ordinance route is clearly unlikely, neither from the Tamil Nadu government nor from the centre. So in that case, legally speaking, there are very little options, and the state of Tamil Nadu will have to make sure that they do not, are in open defiance of the Supreme Court order, and there is no tacit consent to the entire, Jallikattu celebrations which are happening in defiance of the Supreme Court order.
Okay, and I believe Mr. Balakumar Somu is back with us. You know, Mr. Somu, is there a way possible? Because clearly you have the entire political spectrum support in the state. So if the parties are together, is there a way forward that you can take a step back, take a deep breath and think, is there any further way of making this game perhaps healthier, of trying to sit down with animal rights activists and to take forward your point of view as well and making it maybe a more safer and a healthier game?
Let us actually sit down with farmers, who are responsible to rear these cattle and find ways of a healthy, ways of, conducting the sport. Why we should let the animal rights activists please visit. I have invited personally so many people to come down to Madurai, come down to Trichy, and we were willing to take them around to show them how it is conducted and how the bulls are being taken care of. But unfortunately, most of the leading animal rights activists have refused to do so. I invite Purva Joshipura, Ambika Shukla, and all these people to please come down, understand what it is, see for it first hand, and see whether torture is going on, and see how people look after their bulls. And a farmer, according to me, is the highest level of animal welfare activist. He takes care of these animals all his life. It is not like I take an ornamental puppy, sterilize it, keep it with me all my life, and tom to the world that I'm looking after a puppy. No, that is the animal torture.
Okay, so Purva, how do you respond to that? Have animal rights activists not responded to these calls for discussion, sitting across the table and try and listen in maybe to the viewpoint of the organizers as well?
As a reminder, Jallikattu was conducted under rules and regulations since 2009. It was after 2009 that all of those cruelties were documented, and it was found that Jallikattu is inherently cruel. We would not take a halfway measure for a human being. You would never say that it's okay to be cruel to this extent to a child. You would never say it would be acceptable to be cruel to this extent to a woman. So we can't take those types of halfway measures for animals either. We have to afford them our greatest level of protection. And the Supreme Court found that the Tamil Nadu law, which laid down those rules and regulations, was in violation of the central government law, which is the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, which prohibits the causing animals unnecessary suffering. This is causing animals unnecessary suffering.
Okay, so clearly both of you do not seem to see any meeting ground here. A quick final word from you, Anusha, the court in its hearings, because there are instances of these kind of games in other parts of the world too. Most famously, the bull racing that happens in Spain, which draws in international tourists. How does the court take into account these kind of sports that happen elsewhere?
Well, Smita, let me just quickly also answer one of the points that has been repeatedly raised about the cultural argument that, the animals are raised with a lot of love and there is no cruelty that happens. This was one of the points which was raised in the court. And in fact, the court also categorically questioned the people supporting Jallikattu that what happens to these bulls once the fight is over. Usually, what the Animal Welfare Board and other animal rights organizations have told the Supreme Court, that these animals are sold for slaughtering and for other purposes. So clearly this cultural argument of supporting Jallikattu did not stand in the court. That was one of the reasons the court passed the order, because the people supporting Jallikattu could not prove that this the entire exercise in its spirit was very humane. And clearly the court said that the state of Tamil Nadu has repeatedly failed to ensure that no cruelty happens.
Well, clearly, if people really think that they are emotionally, culturally involved to this sport, they will have to prove their case in court, because at this point in time, the centre does not want to intervene. I am afraid I'll have to wrap this show here, but I appreciate both of you joining, Mr. Sumo as well as Purva Joshi and Anusha, for getting us all the very latest and your perspectives as well. It's a wrap of this edition of the broadcast. We'll be back at noon with all the headlines and all the very latest. To stay with us.